What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another review stream as Spurs drew 2-2 with Everton at Goodison Park yesterday in a really frustrating game of football. We're here to do our match review, player ratings, 5 takeaways, and then we'll go and see how the internet did react to the game. But let's start off with the match review from yesterday. In terms of the starting lineup, I think it was what we kind of expected yesterday. Maybe a couple of changes in there. Bentancur starting in the 8 with Højbjerg in the 6. Man, Richarlison just going from strength to strength this season, isn't he? But in terms of the way the game started, I thought we, again, first 10 minutes, came out the traps really well, got that early goal, really great work with Destiny Udogie and Timo Werner on the left-hand side, played it into Richarlison, and he absolutely fired it into the top corner. Didn't celebrate as we expected. But it's carrying on a theme, isn't it, with Spurs? Coming out the traps really well the first 10 minutes and then letting it slip a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like in those first 10 minutes, we did start quickly. And I was saying on the stream, we're on top in these first 10 minutes, but we need to smell blood a bit. We need to kind of go for the throat while we're on top. And we let the game drift. We allowed Everton to, slowly get back in the game, start to take control. And unfortunately for us, they started to bully us a bit, especially midfield. They started to really dominate in those duels. And that was the real factor of how Everton were able to gain control of that game, because they were so aggressive. They just started to win all the duels and all the second balls as well. And the big killer was the set pieces. They started to get lots of set pieces, just swing loads of crosses in the box. And not only that, but when we were dealing with the crosses in the box, they were winning those second balls. So it allowed them to sustain the pressure. It felt like for a long time in that first half, we had no outball. And obviously, it's no secret, in that first half, they targeted Vicario from those set pieces. And it was something that really worked a treat. Obviously, they got the goal from it as well, first of all. But before that as well, they were really causing trouble from those set pieces constantly. And whether Vicario got something on it or not, it was causing him lots of problems. And it's something that teams now, after what Man City did, seem to a tactic that teams are really adopting now.
Yeah.
Which is worrying.
Yeah, it's 100% spot on. And I noticed 3 glaring things in the game in the first half yesterday. First of all, what you mentioned, the inability for Spurs to win those second balls yesterday. Second of all, again, what you picked out was them clearly targeting Vicario from those set pieces. We kept giving away needless corners time and time again as well. And every time they got a corner in that first half, it seemed like it was like a penalty or something. I swear, everyone was very close. They got their first goal. I actually did think it was a foul. He was backing into Vicario, but I guess Vicario does have to be stronger. It's I thought it was more of a foul than the Man City one, for sure. But again, like, Vicario just needs to be stronger. Second one, he did keep out with his feet, didn't he? Which was quite a good save from Vicario. But every time they were crowding the box, crowding the keeper, and aiming right for Vicario from their corners, and it did seem like they could have scored from pretty much every set piece that they had yesterday. And another thing that I noticed yesterday was just our inability to keep the ball in midfield. Højbjerg, Bentancur, time and time again, just kept giving the ball away in the middle of the park. And I don't think that was due to the way that how aggressive Everton were in the midfield. I just thought it was just poor passing ability from our midfield yesterday.
I did think it was due to how Everton were playing, because I thought they were very intense. It wasn't just Højbjerg and Bentancur. I thought the back line as well really struggled in their build-up. It seemed as though with Udogie, unless he was kind of like bullying his way through with his physicality, he struggled in the build-up as well. I know he had some good moments yesterday, but as well, in general play, when he was asked to kind of pass his way out of trouble, I thought he struggled yesterday. I thought Porro wasn't able to find those passes that he usually does in general. I thought as well, it was more a problem with the front three than midfield three, because I thought as soon as they got to that front three, even Richarlison was a bit guilty of this, but him less so than the other two, Werner and Johnson. They could not make it stick for love nor money. Johnson was constantly looking for these little flicks around the corner, and they weren't coming off. He was constantly making bad decisions on the right-hand side. There was no kind of thinking about just keeping the ball simple. Just even if you're playing, it kind of felt like whenever we got the ball to the front three, they wanted to kind of do something special to kind of progress the ball up into the final third. But sometimes you just got to play it simple, keep possession, and then pick your moments to go forward. I understand it's a very transitional game yesterday against an Everton team who like to play in transition, and once you let them get into a settled back line, organised, it becomes very, very difficult to break them down. So I understand the need to kind of quicken things up and maybe force things a bit. But the only one I saw with a bit of like composure and someone who was willing to kind of bide his time, keep possession, and also pick his moments to kind of go for it was Maddison. I thought he was the one really doing well in that midfield, but he was kind of surrounded by a lot of players rushing things, forcing things, and they weren't coming off. And Everton kind of saw it coming. They were so aggressive. They were getting stuck into those duels, and they're winning it back every single time. Yeah. And that's something I thought Brentford did very well in the first half against us as well. So clearly it's something very, very important that Postecoglou has to work on, because when these aggressive teams, strong teams, Brentford and Everton are kind of similar in the way they play, and they both played us to a T, especially in that first half yesterday, and we really struggled. We're
struggling against teams that are coming to press us high up the pitch or even in the midfield, and Højbjerg and Bentancur at the moment don't have the answers. There seems to be something off with Bentancur at the moment. I'm not sure what it is, because he seems to be, usually when he's on top of his game, he's really press resistant. He can work around these midfields. He's doing the simple things right. And I just feel like he didn't have any of those elements to his game yesterday, which was really frustrating. Really frustrating. In terms of Brennan Johnson, though, like, I've been backing him all the time since he's joined us. I'm still backing him. I think he will come good eventually. But yesterday, he pissed me off so much. I swear, every time he got the ball, he either checked back or he lost it. And there were times yesterday where he had it on the right-hand side, really wide on the pitch, and he had it one-on-one with his fullback. And I'm shouting from the sideline, go and attack your fullback, go and attack him. And he just didn't want to do it by no means necessary. And it was so frustrating, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was a severe lack of quality I felt from Brendan yesterday as well. There was only one moment I can remember where he did well, where he actually got to the byline. It was actually in the second half. He got beyond Mikalenko one of the only times. He actually got a good ball across the face of goal, but Werner kind of waited for the ball to come to him rather than going to attack it, and it led to a tackle getting put in. So we could have been talking with an assist for Johnson at the end of the day, but I agree. He was really, really poor. Didn't get involved in the game. The most annoying thing for me is if you're going to have an off day going forward, you at least can't be a liability in terms of on the pitch. Like, you can't be giving the ball away constantly. You have to be part of the team. And it just felt like he didn't know how to make the ball stick. He didn't know how to bring other players into play. He was constantly looking to try things, and they weren't coming off. And unfortunately, rightly so, did he come off? No, it was Werner went off. He went off with Kulusevski late on, but yeah, he had a really, really poor display again. And it seems to be a constant theme. And it seems to be like away from home, he just, I don't know. So, like at home, he seems to be a bit better, but away from home, he seems to just get lost in the game.
Plays within himself, doesn't he? And when you're coming up against the most aggressive team in the league, pretty much in Everton, you got to be on your game, and you got to show a bit of confidence and try things. And he wasn't doing that. And he has the pace, right, to knock it past his fullback and just try go on the outside and really burn him. But he didn't even attempt it. And that's the worst thing about it. Like, if you try and attempt it and it doesn't work and it doesn't come off, then fair enough. But if you don't attempt it, it's just not good enough.
Agreed. We did somehow go into halftime 2-1 up, though.
Yeah.
With an unbelievable
completely
goal.
Against the run of play, that goal. Completely against the run of play. I was saying to Amir, who I was at the game with yesterday, and I was saying to him just before we scored, I was like, we're really under pressure here. We're going to be lucky to go in at halftime 1-1. And then we scored like a few seconds later. And I was like, what a goal. What a goal. Lovely little flick back from James Maddison, wasn't it? And Richarlison just batters it into the top right-hand corner. This is a man full of confidence now, on fire. I think that's 10 goals so far this season, 9 in his last 8 or 9 in his last 9. And not only is he just getting these kind of, I wouldn't say easy chances, but chances you expect him to score. But both goals were really high quality yesterday.
Really high quality. And I was saying in our group chat on just on Friday, like, Rishi's doing great. I love him, and I think he's up his performance so well. But I still haven't seen a goal from him yet. Like, to say, oh, what a goal! Like, great finish from him. A lot of these finishes have been a bit maybe scuffed or poachers finishes and stuff like that. But yesterday, that second goal, curled it in with the instep outside the box, 25 yards into the top corner as well. Unbelievable finish, an unbelievable goal. And I thought he was due a banger, and he was close on Wednesday against Brentford to getting one, and absolutely buried this one. Apologise to the Everton fans after as well. But this, yeah, I 100% agree. We're finally seeing Rishi at his best at the moment, full of confidence. And now we're seeing quality from him as well. A lot of people saying, this guy couldn't finish, this guy doesn't have good shooting technique, all this kind of stuff. And he's silencing all those critics. And that first goal as well, on the volley, not to be sniffed at how difficult a chance that was to get that into the roof of the net. That was an exceptional finish as well. And now his finishing is really taking it up a notch as well, isn't it? So really, really great to see. And I thought it was tireless running from him in general yesterday. But just talking about that goal, just to take that, it shows how much confidence he has. He just took it first time with his instep, like didn't have a second thought but to get the shot off, and it was an astounding finish. And if he's going to have more finishes like that, he's going to go from just a player in good form to one of the better strikers in the league.
Yeah, it was a weird dynamic yesterday, the game, because I felt like in the first half we went 2-1 up, and we were much worse in the first half than I thought that we were in the second half. And in the second half, we just couldn't find a goal. And Everton go and score that goal in the last minute. But I did feel like at half time, Ange must have got into them, because we did come out better in that second half.
Yeah.
I think maybe marginally better, but definitely better. We were able to keep the ball a bit more, play our football a bit more, create a few chances. Maddison has that shot from the edge of the box. Porro had a really good effort as well. Werner, though, I mean, as much as Werner's good with his running, and yes, he was involved in both goals, he just needs to be a bit more incisive, a bit more clinical, and a bit more confident in his finishing, because his lack of end of product is starting to annoy me. Well, in this game, annoyed me a bit. Yeah,
he was frustrating a few times. There was also, again, just like there has been a few times this season for Werner in his first few appearances for Spurs, so a few times he's in on the left-hand side and we just don't find him, which is quite frustrating. So he could have had more chances than he did, but there were definitely a couple of occasions he could have done better. There was that one-on-one he had, which he missed, but obviously he was offside for that anyway. And there was a chance I spoke about earlier. Johnson plays a really good ball across the face of goal, and it was really frustrating because if Werner just goes towards the ball and attacks that pass, he gets there before, I think it was Godfrey, and he could have got a really clear shot of goal inside the box. Unfortunately, he kind of waited for the ball to come to him. He wanted it to be perfect, and the longer he waited, obviously Godfrey was able to get in and clear the ball, and that was a really good chance to make it 3-1. Yeah, he did have a few opportunities to kind of run down the left, but unfortunately he did waste a lot of them, and that's just unfortunately how it might be for Werner. In terms of overall how we did in the second half, yeah, I thought it was much, much better because we definitely created more good opportunities, and the really good thing, positive thing I thought coming out of the second half was we seemed to sort, apart from obviously we did concede a set piece late in the game, so maybe it's ironic for me to say this, but I did think we definitely improved from set pieces in that second half because they were McNeil was putting in those corners, and Vicario, instead of like being weak and being held down, he was coming and claiming the corners.
He caught a number of them, didn't he?
He did it, I think 2 or 3 of them he came and claimed. So clearly, I don't know what was said at half time, but they definitely improved on something. That was a massive plus. I felt like Everton were just getting a lot less encouragement from Tottenham in that second half as well. Our build-up was much better. We were able to get beyond Everton. I felt like Everton maybe tired a bit, their pressing was a bit less intense, and maybe that allowed Tottenham to take control of the game. And I definitely felt like we had control of that game in the second half. If anyone looked like it was going to get the third goal or the next goal in the game, it was going to be Tottenham. So Rishi as well had a really good chance. Kulu played him in behind, and Pickford made a good save. So Pickford was definitely the busier keeper in that second half. But unfortunately, all the good work was undone in the last 10 minutes. Obviously, there was a long stoppage time, 7 minutes? And even just before that stoppage time, we were already giving up control. It seemed as though we just panicked in those last 10 minutes of the game. We were just doing such stupid things, giving away stupid free kicks. Just all of a sudden, apart from doing nice build-up, we were just lumping it forward like anywhere will do. And
would be so frustrated with that as well.
And a few occasions, we had opportunities to either keep possession or run it into the corner or do something, and we were just giving it away willy-nilly. And Richarlison, I remember there was one moment, near the end of the game, and he's got the ball in centre mid. He just runs into two players, like, in a dangerous position. It's like, what are you doing? It's like near the end of the game, you're just needlessly giving the ball away. And that was really, really frustrating. I think, again, it smacks of the immaturity maybe Ange was talking about in the Brentford game. That's something we need to learn. Game management, end of game. Yeah, maybe you want to get that third goal, but sometimes you have to see it out. And it seemed like we just panicked in those last 10 minutes.
Absolutely. It was really frustrating because, like you said, we were the ones in the ascendancy for the majority of that second half. We should have gone on and got that third goal. And if we do get that third goal, that's game over. And we take home 3 points in a really gritty display. But again, how many times this season now have we conceded last-minute goals? It's so frustrating. It's happening time and time again. And in a game like that where you've got such big moments. You've got Liverpool playing Arsenal right now as we speak, about to kick off. And it's so important to go take 3 points to stay up in touch with the top places in the Premier League. And we drop more points away from home, more away woes for Tottenham. And our away form is really starting to worry me. It really is.
1 win in 6, I think, away from home, isn't it? So, look, away from home in the Premier League is always going to be tough. There's a lot of tough games, but it's just a worry. Apart from like the Man United game, we have struggled to control these games. And even the Man United game, obviously we conceded 2 goals. And again, even in that game, we could have conceded right at the end with, I think it was McTominay had a header. Go back to the Burnley game and the FA Cup, could have conceded right at the end there. We were lucky not to. The Brentford game could have conceded right at the end. We're lucky not to. So even in games where we have seen it out or have not conceded, there have been chances for the opposition. And whether there are chances for them or they actually go on and score, there seems to be a big problem of us late in games defending our leads or defending the result. And that's really, really frustrating. It's something for Ange to think about because obviously we're loving the football. And maybe it's just a consequence of how he wants to play. But we can't keep going on with all these chances conceding late on. It can't continue in this way. This can't be something Ange can tolerate because we're not managing these games late on at all well. And that's something really frustrating at the moment. It's costing us.
And that last goal is the goal that we conceded late on. It was so needless as well. So needless. Kulusevski puts in a stupid foul to give away that free kick, like for nothing, pretty much, in no area where...
The last thing you do in that situation is give away a set piece.
There's just no need for it.
They haven't created anything from open play in the whole game.
I know, and the only way that they did create was from set pieces throughout the whole game, and we give them a needless one right at the end. And as much as I said in the first half, what I said to Amir, I said to him again just before that free kick get given away. I said to him, Everton are going to score here, and like literally 50 seconds later, they get that free kick and they score. So it's probably my fault that they did score, but. When the set piece does come in, it looked like we could deal with it quite easily. Romero wins it, and then I don't know, it just like skims off his head and lands to Branthwaite in the back post. And should Vicario be doing better there? It's a point blank range. I'm not going to really put too much down on him. It's all got to be down on Romero.
Yeah, I mean, Romero makes a bad header. He just had to head it away, and he just got it all wrong, unfortunately. Maybe it was too high for him. But the most frustrating thing for me is if you watch it back, there's like two or three Everton players at the back post ready to put it in, like no marking. Yeah. And just before that, I think it was Chermiti had a free shot right in the from a cross right in the centre of the goal. And lucky for us, he kind of doesn't get enough on it. So they were definitely threatening. And again, so frustrating that we're in the second half. We had control of that game, and we just panicked and gave up control, started doing stupid things, and that ended up costing us a result at the end of the day. And I think on the balance of the whole game, Everton definitely deserved something from the game, so it would have been very harsh if they would have lost it. But it's just frustrating. Like it wasn't like in the first half where they were on top of us and we ceded to that pressure. We had control and we just completely panicked and gave up that control, our stupidity. And Ange must have been out watching things unfold and think, how were we allowing this to happen? And I want to say I don't think his substitutions helped that much as well.
I agree.
So that was a bit frustration as well.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see the need for Bryan Hill to come on first and foremost, especially against such a physical side. Bryan Hill's never going to get anything in that game, and
you have him. Yeah, gone.
And that's what it came to be.
Yeah, it's just annoying when exactly, because you bring Bryan Hill on and all of a sudden you're giving away set pieces. He's going to have to mark someone in the box now. And you look at Everton's side, every single player, they're big, they're strong. So even if obviously you've got the centre-backs marking, the big players, but still Bryan Hill's going to have to take up someone, and he's never going to win any duel in the air or anything. So that was like really frustrating as well. And obviously he didn't really do anything going forward as well.
Yeah, and Kulusevski, when he came on, I did think, like, well, who else could he bring on but Kulusevski? You know what I mean? At that moment in the game. But he did create a chance when he first came on, Kulu. But apart from that, he offered little next to nothing and then just gave away a stupid free kick. There are players at the moment, like Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson, Bentancur, who are just not playing to their full ability at the moment. And they're just in a moment of really bad form, and they need to turn it around pretty quickly.
Yeah, something for Ange to focus on. Hopefully, these players are not playing very well over the last few weeks. I'm not sure why. If I can put my finger on why exactly they're off their game, but it is the reality. We have to say what we can see. I think in terms of positives, obviously we spoke about Maddison. I thought he was better in this game than he was against Brentford. Looked less rusty, looked a bit sharper. Obviously had a couple of good efforts as well. A couple of little trickery in the centre of the park, which was good.
He was our best man in the midfield by far.
And we lost a lot when he went off. It seemed we lost any sort of possession in the midfield. And probably man of the match, or one of our best players, was Van der Ven.
Most definitely man of the match. He was class. He just oozes class. No matter who we play against, he's our best player. It seems as a week in, week out at the moment. You're looking at Richarlison, like them two were clearly by far our best players yesterday, and I think that Richarlison's going to get the plaudits because he scored 2 goals and 2 brilliant goals at that, but I actually think Mickey van der Ven was by far our best player on the pitch yesterday. He is just such a good defender. His recovery pace gets us out of trouble time and time again. All his challenges, his sliding challenges, is just spot on every time. It's just so hard to get the ball around him, and he's such a top-class defender.
Yeah, he's amazing. He just gets us out of trouble so often as well. Like, just with his ability, his recovery ability is second to none. Romero said in an interview on Friday he thinks Van der Ven is one of the best centre-backs in the league. I think we can all agree. When he's on the pitch, even though we have conceded goals recently, it's nothing to do down to him in terms of how he defends. He's just been impeccable, and he's incredible. I absolutely love watching him play as well, and I thought it was down to him maybe that it wasn't a worse result yesterday.
Yeah. It's just unfortunate that he's on kind of sides, against Man City, how well he played that game. Didn't deserve to be on the losing side, and didn't deserve to be part of a defence that, poor defending from Romero, just giving away sloppy free kicks from Kulusevski. He didn't deserve that, Van der Ven, yesterday, and you saw how frustrated he was after the game.
Yeah, definitely. And he said we should have killed it, which is right. I think if we make it 3-1 in that second half, we win that game. So massive frustration. We let it go all the way down to 2-1, all the way down to the end of the game, and we panicked at the end, and it cost us. And that's, again, something this team is going to have to learn.
And it's frustrating with Romero as well, because Romero, he puts in good displays, like good defensive displays for the most part, but in the last couple of games, he's had these brain farts or these bad moments in games, which is kind of like overshadowing his overall performance. Because again, I thought for the most part, he had a good game yesterday, but then right at the end, he lets himself down and lets the team down.
Yeah. With a bad flick on. I mean, I have to watch it again. I don't know if if the ball was too high or he just gets the header completely wrong, but obviously the ball does come off him, and because of that, it's not an offside, is it? And because he intervenes, so it's very, very frustrating. I did think he had a pretty good game, although there was also another moment he gives the ball away straight to Idrissa Gueye on the edge of our own area as well, which puts us under pressure. But again, there are so many moments where Everton are coming forward and he gets a brilliant challenge in and gets us back on the front foot with a great tackle. So there were a lot of that, but there are these things he needs to get out of his game where he's making stupid, bad moments, basically. I agree. And unfortunately, it seems like every time it has one, it's costing us a goal. So that's the thing.
Look, barring the set pieces where we came under pressure a lot, I did think it was a good defensive display overall. I think Porro and Udogie both defended really well on the day, especially Udogie. I thought Udogie was really good throughout the game. Obviously, that assist right at the start of the game was brilliant, and it's just unfortunate that I felt that the midfield, like I know you disagree a little bit, but I just felt the midfield let us down on the day, particularly in the first half massively. But it's another game where we drop points late on in the game, worrying away form. But I guess we just got to dust ourselves off, pick ourselves up for Brighton at home, which is not going to be an easy game by any stretch of the imagination. We saw how they absolutely battered us at times at the Amex a month ago. And they got back to winning ways, didn't they? Quite impressively this weekend. And we know with De Zerbi, you're going to be in with a dogfight with the way they like to play their football.
expect more pressing. And it's interesting, Van der Ven after the game was saying, teams feel like now they can when they play against us, they press high and they get opportunities and encouragement from winning the ball in our attacking third. And it's something we have to work on, and we know that's going to come more from Brighton. We saw at the Amex how they really, really aggressively pressed us, and they got a lot of joy out of it. So it seemed as though maybe early in the season we were doing a lot better beating the opposition press, and I thought we did in the second half beat that press a lot better once they started to tire. But it seems like in the first halves, when teams press us, when they're full of energy and they're very intense because it's the start of the game and they got all that energy to use up, we're struggling at the moment to really contain that. It feels like once it gets to the second half and that energy drops a bit because they're starting to tire and we can use our build-up play to get through them. All of a sudden, we seem to implement our game and we seem to get control of it. But it's something we really need to concentrate on in the first halves, because at the moment we're struggling to contain opposition who really try to press us.
I would say one thing as well. Obviously, Pape Sarr came back yesterday, and the fans were absolutely. First of all, the Spurs fans yesterday again were just absolutely insane from start till the 94th minute, just before we conceded. Absolutely brilliant. And what a reception they gave Pape Sarr on his return. I thought Pape, without doing anything too incredible, did add a lot to the midfield when he came on yesterday. I would say that was probably the only positive change that Ange made yesterday. Yeah,
he looked sharp. He was looking. Yeah, he looked quite good. I thought when he came on, he gave us something. Unfortunately, he ended up the game with him and Skip in a midfield two with we had a back three. And again, I didn't like us in that formation as much as I understood it, because he brought Dragoshin on, maybe get some more aerial ability in there. We just didn't look good, and we didn't know how to build up with it. We didn't know how to attack with that formation, and it led to us just sitting very low and trying to see out the game, and it ultimately failed. But yeah, Pape himself, I thought had a pretty good cameo when he came on.
Yeah, but what do we do for the next game now with the midfield? Because Bentancur's not playing well. I'm not sure if this is a game for Højbjerg either against Brighton. I'm not sure. But Bissouma's back now after Mali lost yesterday in the AFCON. Pape's back with some minutes behind his belt. So surely Pape comes straight back into the midfield against Brighton. He's going to be invaluable against Brighton with the amount of legs he has. Does Bissouma come straight back in? I mean, I'm not sure what's going on with Bissouma, because he's only playing a few minutes here and there. He played the whole of extra time yesterday, half an hour. Do we go back to the midfield that gave us that amazing run at the start of the season? Bissouma in the 6, Pape in the 8, and Maddison in the 10.
Yeah, it depends what kind of condition Bissouma's in. Obviously, I know Bentancur's not playing that well at the moment, but I'll obviously rather stick with him than Højbjerg at the moment, given his ability on the ball. So I think it's a decision. I think obviously it's definitely going to be Sarr and Maddison, and it's a decision whether it's going to be Bentancur or Bissouma. Bentancur or Bissouma in the 6. I think that's how we play it, and I think that's the right thing to do.
If Bissouma is fit to start, do you side with him?
If Bissouma is fit, well, it's not like he's in great form as well, but if he's fit to start, do I side with him? If he's fit to start and we feel like he's 100% match fit, yeah, start him. I'll go with it.
I agree. So that is our match review for the 2-2 draw. Very disappointing result at Goodison Park. But let's move on to our player ratings. We'll start off with Big Vicario. 6s all round from us. Bit frustrating because I felt like he struggled massively with the set pieces. They were clearly targeting and crowding him in the first half, but I did think he got better from that aspect in the second half. He was claiming the corners a lot better. There was about 2 or 3 corners that he just came out and caught, but he's got to get stronger from the set pieces. I did feel it was a bit of a foul of him with the player backing into him, and then he ultimately needs to be a bit stronger though. He did make some really good saves, one from a corner in the first half where he got down low and kept out with his feet, which looked like it was on the line, and another couple of saves on the day which were fairly impressive. So I don't have too many worries with Big Vic, but it does seem like a theme now where they're targeting him from set pieces.
Yeah, I think he improved. So I thought if we were basing off the first half, it was probably like a 4 or probably a 4 or a 5, because obviously he did make some good saves, but he massively struggled from those set pieces, and it was something that they were constantly putting him under pressure for. Even when he did get something on it, it didn't look entirely convincing, and he was struggling to deal with them. But I'll give him credit because he came back into the game in the second half and started to really dominate those set pieces, started to come and claim claim the corners, and he made some good saves as well. So overall, he was okay. But obviously that first half, he definitely struggled, and that's something we're going to have to think about moving forward of how to deal with those set pieces. Maybe he needs more protection from his teammates, because at the moment it just seems that they're allowing an Everton player to stick on him, and it's something that is really costing us at the moment.
Yeah. Let's move on to the right back, Pedro Porro. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him a 7. I thought Porro was really good defensively. Once again, I thought the last couple of weeks his defensive performances have been top notch, to be honest, and I think this was another example of it. On the ball, not as creative as maybe it has been in the past, but again, I think the last couple of games it's been a similar story from Pedro Porro, where his defensive displays has been better than his offensive displays. But he did get in good positions in the second half, had a really good effort, which the keeper was equal to. From where I was sitting, I had a massive pole in front of me, and I thought that was going in, to be fair, but it wasn't to be. I did feel like in the first half, when the midfielders kept losing the ball, I felt like he was the one actually trying to keep the ball and keeping the ball well and feeding the midfield. But yeah, I actually thought Porro had a fairly good game.
Yeah, I think he was okay. Didn't influence the game as much as I think we know he can. I thought he was much better in the second half. I agree with that. I feel like his passing in the build-up wasn't as effective as I've definitely seen it from him in previous games. So I thought defensively he dealt with Dwight McNeil in open play pretty well. Obviously McNeil had a big influence from the set pieces, but in open play he was pretty quiet. I thought Porro had a decent game. I don't think he did anything special. I thought he defended well, but I'd like to see him have more influence like he usually does on the ball.
Yeah, let's move on to Cuti Romero. 6s all round for Romero, and I thought by and large for the majority of the game Romero had a really good display, aggressive, winning duels time and time again, and just a really good defensive display. But it's these little mishaps, these little lapses of concentration that that we keep talking about with Cuti in recent weeks, to be honest. And there was one, I think it was in the first half, which was really frustrating, where he just gave the ball away needlessly. And then it all comes down to that the last chance where Branthwaite scored at the back post, where it just hits the top of Romero's head and it falls to Branthwaite at the back post. And it's just not something that you need from your captain going into the last seconds of the game.
Yeah, very frustrating that ended up costing us points. I did think in general he was pretty good. I agree with you. But it's those big moments which at the moment it seems as though whenever he does something bad, it seems to be costing us a goal. And that's what happened right at the end. He gets the header all wrong. It flicks onto Branthwaite and they get the 2-2 draw. I thought in general play, when he's being aggressive, he's getting those tackles in and setting us up on attacks. It's really, really positive. But I thought in general he had a good game, but a couple of moments were putting us under pressure. And unfortunately, one of them cost us. So I only gave him a 6 in the end.
Mickey van der Ven, gives him an 8. I gave him a 9. I thought another top quality display from Mickey van der Ven yesterday. I don't think he put a foot wrong, to be honest. He was there time and time again, making those recovery runs. His sliding tackles are absolutely pinpoint every single time, and he just didn't deserve to lose, to be on a team that didn't win yesterday. That performance was top quality.
Yeah, I thought he was brilliant. Pretty much didn't put a foot wrong. He's so aggressive when he's running in behind and you see him charging towards you. There's nothing you can do to stop him. You know he's getting there first, and it doesn't matter who they got running onto it. Van der Ven's going to get there first, and he's so confident. He's so good at anticipating that danger as well. I thought he had a really, really great game. The only thing is maybe could have done a bit more when it on the ball, progressing upwards. I don't know if he was that effective, but we had other players for that, thankfully, and I just thought he did his job brilliantly yesterday.
Destiny Udogie at left back. Sim gives him a 6. I gave him an 8. Quite a different rating here, but at the start of the game, obviously, he gets high up the pitch, bundles his way through with a nice little pass from Timo Werner, plays a really good ball into Richarlison, and we all know what happened next. So a really good assist there from Destiny Udogie. I thought he defended really well throughout the game as well at left back. And look, I thought he was influencing the game really well. And I think in terms of the last game where he made all those stupid errors, I think he cut that out of his game, and he performed well.
Yeah, I think he did well in certain moments. There was obviously the assist was really great, got down the left-hand side, great ball to Richarlison with the goal. There was also one occasion that in the second half, he bundled his way past like 2 or 3 players to get into the box and set up. I think it was Richarlison who had a shot blocked, and that was like classic Destiny Doggy, just using his physicality to bundle past you. But I actually felt like there were a lot of occasions he struggled in build-up, and he kept losing the ball with bad passes and bad decision-making. There was also a few occasions I felt he could have released Werner into space and either didn't see him or just didn't play him, and that could have been some good situations for us, so that was really frustrating as well. Defensively, up against I think it was Harrison Ashley Young, I thought he did pretty well. I thought Young was giving a bit of trouble in the first half, but in the second half he had absolutely nothing. So I think in general it was a good display from Destiny, but I don't know whether it's fatigue or something, but some of his decision making, the build up hasn't been great in recent weeks.
Yeah, I understand. Maybe we can split the difference and say he performed at a 7 yesterday. I think 6 is a bit too low, but maybe 8 is a bit too high as well. So let's say 7 for Destiny yesterday, because, let's move on to the midfield. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, 5s all round for Pierre. I mean, a very up and down game for Pierre yesterday, to be honest, in my opinion. I thought on the ball, he was horrific. I thought off the ball, he was really good and provided some bite in the midfield for us, and just kept running around, winning the ball back a few times. But on the ball, particularly in the first half, just kept passing it back to Everton time and time again, and his inability to try and win successfully those second balls, well, that goes for the whole team, to be honest. But I thought Højbjerg was a big culprit of it yesterday.
Yeah, and there's some things Højbjerg does where it just riles, it gets your blood boiling. It riles you up because like simple passes that any midfielder should make, and he just needlessly inaccurate, lack of care, giving it away. And it happened a few times. It happens a few times every game usually with him, but it happened quite a lot yesterday as well, and that was really, really frustrating. But there are also sometimes where, Everton on the attack and he puts in a crunching challenge and he recovers the ball, sets us up on the attack, and all of a sudden, you're thinking he's such a valuable member of the team. But those on the ball moments, it's hard to look past, especially when they're so glaring and they're so common as well. It's very, very frustrating, especially near the end of the game as well. It was quite frustrating. So again, a mixed bag. Look, Højbjerg, sometimes in these kind of games when he's up against an aggressive team who are going to impress you intensely, he can struggle to make quick decisions and play quick passes. In other games, it's much more suited to him. So it is what it is with Højbjerg. We know he needs upgrading, but it's no surprise really, this kind of performance.
Rodrigo Bentancur, 4s all round from us, carrying on another string of poor performances from Rodrigo Bentancur. I'm not sure if it's him still trying to come back to full fitness from his injury, but he has played quite a bit of football now since he has returned. I mean, what was his first game back? Was Burnley, wasn't it, in the FA Cup, which was right at the start of January. In the first
Burnley, Bournemouth.
Well, that was even before that. That was on the 31st of December. So he's been back for a while now. So you would have think he would be up to full speed, seeing as when he came back from the ACL, he started off at like 100 million miles per hour.
You got to remember he was rushed back though. He was kind of rushed back, wasn't he? Because they said, Ange said against Bournemouth, like he was set to be out for like another month, but he wanted to be part of the team so much. But obviously you shouldn't really be playing him if he's not fully fit. Obviously, yeah,
it's very true. But you got to call it how you see it on the football pitch, and he's just not playing well enough at the moment. What you associate with Rodrigo Bentancur is how well he can keep the ball, how well he can beat the press, how well he can take it round players, and we're just not seeing any of that at the moment from Rodrigo. I thought there were a lot of lazy passes in there, particularly in the first half. He kept giving the ball away time and time again, and I just failed to see anything really positive in there from him, unfortunately. And I think when he was taken off, it was rightly so. And I was actually calling for him to get taken off at half-time yesterday, to bring on Pape at half-time, but he didn't do that.
And that would have been his second game in a row he's taken off at half-time. That did happen. I actually thought he was a bit better in the second half. For those, I think he was only on for 15 minutes in the second half, but he started to be a bit more confident. He was even taking the ball, taking people on in his own penalty area and beating their press, and he was starting to be a bit more confident, but definitely off the pace in this one. Bentancur, he was getting hounded. He was making bad decisions on the ball. He was giving it away, couldn't keep the ball at all. Off the ball as well, he just wasn't getting close to people. He wasn't getting challenges in. He just again seemed off the pace. So It did seem to me like I just feel like physically he's not there at the moment. There's something off with him. I don't know. I don't think it's a case of he's fully back to full fitness and he's just having a bad period. It doesn't seem that he's physically fully up to it right now. And I don't know whether he was rushed back and now we're seeing the consequences of him being rushed back at this moment in time. Maybe when Basuma gets back, he can kind of go back to the bench for a bit until he's fully up to speed. Maybe that's the case. I'm theorizing, but definitely off the pace in this one, and it's hard to watch at times.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's move on to James Maddison. 7 all round for James, and I think he put in a much better display. You know, he was trying to dictate the play. He seemed like the only one in midfield with any real bit of quality, and that was quality that we saw for the second goal, wasn't it? Because it was a lovely flick back to Richarlison, and obviously Richarlison did the rest, but I don't think it was a vintage James Maddison display by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely more positive than the last game. And you're seeing him get back to his best, and I think we'll keep seeing him grow and grow now.
Yeah, you got to remember, it's only a second start since that 3-month injury, and I do think he's getting better and better as the minutes come. He's looking sharper. He's looking like he's more creative in those little pockets as well. That little flick for the second goal was great. I think he played for the first goal. Was he involved in the first goal as well? I can't remember, but the second goal, I think he plays the pass in behind to Werner, and then he gets the pass back from Werner, flicks it into Richarlison, and obviously got the goal. Had a couple of nice efforts from the edge of the area as well, forced Pickford into a couple of saves, which on another day maybe could have gone in. I thought that was really good. There was one moment that frustrated me a bit. He got put through one-on-one. Sorry, not one-on-one, but he got put through on goal. I can't remember who by, but he goes streaming through, and he's got two defenders coming either side of him, and he's got Werner to his left, kind of delays the pass. I think he tries to get the shot off instead of playing in Werner, and unfortunately the defenders caught up with him and got the tackle in. I think if he plays that pass to Werner, squares it, there could have been a real opportunity there. So that was a bit frustrating. But other than that, I do think out of the outfield players in the mid, especially midfield, definitely the one who looked most up for it, looked most sharp, and the one was well that seemed to be able to kind of compete with Everton in the midfield, whereas the other ones were just giving the ball away time and time again. So he was one of the few positives on the day.
Yeah. Let's go on to the forward line, and Brennan Johnson. Sim gives him a 4. I gave him a 3, and I was really frustrated with Brennan in this game. I mean, he gets the ball in good spaces. He gets the ball when, you know, he's one-on-one with his fullback, albeit quite high up the pitch, but that's the spaces that he should love. He should be able to knock it past his defender and use his pace and burn down that right-hand side, and he just doesn't do that. He seems weak, losing the ball time and time again. He has no confidence to take on his fullback at all, where he should be, and that should be his forte. And I just didn't see anything positive in there from Brennan yesterday in a game where we really needed him, to be honest. And I'm starting to get really frustrated with him, to be honest.
Yeah, another really bad display. There's no two ways about it. Giving the ball away constantly, not even being in good positions to kind of make an effect in the final third, not holding on to the ball when he's being played simple passes where, you know, he just has to link up with his midfielders or keep possession, trying flicks around the corner which aren't coming off as well. And he did provide one moment. He got in behind Mikalenko, played a good pass to Werner, but Werner kind of waited for the ball, and the chance was gone. So apart from that good ball across the face of goal from Brennan, offered absolutely nothing, and it's really, really frustrating. And last few games for him, obviously he did score last game when he came on, but apart from that moment, like, he's just not offering a lot at the moment, and he needs to up his game and improve, because at the moment I'm not seeing many signs of improvement right now.
Yeah, there's a problem though, like on the right hand side of the attack at the moment, because Brennan just seems too weak at the moment. Like, I do back him to improve. Like, we saw, like, in the first season, Richarlison was here. Nobody saw anything in his play for that first year. And I think it could be a similar case for Brennan, you know. Nobody's seeing anything with Brennan at the moment, but hopefully he can improve. And I do back him to improve. But in terms of the right-hand side moving forward this season, I mean, Kulusevski's not really showing much either at the moment. So, I mean, I don't know which way we go.
I wonder if there's an opportunity once Son comes back, you put Werner on the right, Son on the left, and Rishi up front, maybe we can try that and gives us some options at least.
Yeah. But let's talk about Timo Werner now. 6s all round for Timo. There seems to be a consistent theme since Timo's come into the side where he makes these really good runs and he doesn't get picked out. And it happens quite a lot. I think maybe it happened a lot more in like maybe the Man City game than it happened in this game yesterday against Everton. But there was still an element of that yesterday where he was making these good runs, finding himself in good spaces, and he's just not getting picked out. The times that he did get picked out, obviously he was involved in both goals that we did score. But apart from that, every time he did get picked out, unfortunately, it wasn't of the best quality that he used the ball with.
Yeah, I thought he was decent. Again, makes an impact within the team. I think he contributes to the team, which is really positive. It's like comparing him to Brennan, you can argue the output was obviously similar, but I think Werner just makes a lot more of an impact in the team tactically than Brennan does. He gets in better positions, he makes better runs, and obviously, as we say, for both goals, played a nice ball in behind for a doggy for the first one, and made a good one for the second one, which he passed back to Maddison. So he's getting involved. He's making an impact in the team. But when it comes to him, himself, when he's asked to get a good ball across the face of goal, when he's asked to finish a chance, those moments he was found wanting yesterday, unfortunately. I thought overall, he made a good impact in the team, but for your attacking players, you need that quality in those crucial moments, and those moments he was found wanting. That moment I talked about before, where Brendan plays a ball across the face of goal, he needs to be attacking that shot. He can't be waiting for it. He has to have that confidence to go towards the ball. There was at one moment where he was offside, but he was put through one-on-one with Pickford, and it was just a weak finish. Pickford easily saved it. Like, I want to see a confident finish in those moments. So I still think there's more to come from Werner. I'm still encouraged by it because he's still making impact in the team. But I'd like to see a bit more from him in those crucial moments.
And then last but not least of the starting 11 was Richarlison, the man on fire at the moment. He gets a 9 all rounds on his old stomping ground in Goodison Park, scores 2 goals in the first half. Could have had a hat-trick in the second half, to be honest, but those goals in the first half were of highest quality. Great finishing from Richarlison. The first one, obviously the ball gets played into him from Destiny Udogie, first time finish into the top corner. The second one is something that we've been dying to see from Richarlison ever since joining. A really good finish from the edge of the box into the top corner. I thought apart from that, maybe it wasn't his strongest game as we've seen in the last couple of weeks, but I still think it was positive, where he was dropping deep, winning the ball back, and also some fairly good link-up play, but I don't think it was maybe as strong as previous weeks.
Yeah, I felt like his overall game wasn't as good. I thought Tarkowski was doing a really good job on him in terms of being really physical, not letting him make the ball stick. And also as well, I was very frustrated with him in the latter stages, in the last 5 minutes, where he was needlessly giving the ball away in really dangerous areas, putting us under pressure for no reason. But you can't take away from his ability in the final third. He got 2 unbelievable finishes, one volley with his left foot, one beautiful curler on the edge of the area with his right foot. Maybe we're starting to see that really great finishing ability that we saw maybe at Everton, where he can really have good ability to take shots around the box, not just poachers' efforts, but actually quality finishing as well. Maybe we're starting to see that from Richarlison. And he nearly got a hat-trick as well. Good ball in behind from Kulu, and decent effort as well, which Pickford was equal to, unfortunately for Rishi. But as you say, maybe what avoided him a 10 was maybe his all-round game wasn't as good as it has been in recent weeks. But those finishes, hopefully we have more of those. He's only four behind Haaland. Maybe he's in with a shout of being up there in the top goal-scoring charts. 2 behind Sonny as well.
Unbelievable. He's in a proper rich vein of form at
9 and 8.
Richarlison, crazy. From where he's come from last season, 1 goal throughout the whole season, to get double figures now, 10 goals in the campaign. He's battering away all the haters, isn't he, at the moment?
Yeah, and I think no one can really complain. And what's important as well, he's really stepping up as Son has been away. He's like being a source of goals, and it seems as though, less like Richarlison scoring, we're really struggling in that element as well. So you got to give him credit for taking up that burden at the moment.
Yeah, totally. Let's move on to the substitutes. We're going to rate 2 of them. First one, Mbappe Matar Sarr, who came on with about half an hour, 25 minutes to go. 6 all round for him. Really good to see him back, to be honest. We've needed him and his legs in the middle of the park, and I felt like he impacted the game positively when he came on. I did feel like I've been banging on about it for pretty much ever since he's been out, that he gives us so much balance to the midfield. And I think he did that again when he came on yesterday. Without doing anything too spectacular, I thought he had a really good cameo.
Yeah, I thought he was definitely provided something for the team. Unfortunately, I felt like he wasn't as good when we went to a back three as we were when he was in a midfield three. I thought he really impacted the game, gave us a bit more energy. There was a couple of occasions as well. He was able to press the Everton midfielders, win it in a good position to set us up on attacks. So that was really positive. Yeah, as you say, was a bit of a steady cameo. I wouldn't say it was anything amazing, but he was definitely better than the likes of Højbjerg and Bentancur when he came on.
It's just so good to see him back, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
In terms of the last substitute we're going to rate in Dejan Kulusevski, Sims gives him a 6. I gave him a 4. The main reason I give him a 4 is just because of that stupid free kick that he gave away right at the end. It just, I was going mad at him, to be honest, from the stands at Goodison Park, and just like, why do we have to give away these needless free kicks in that kind of phase of the game when we know how strong Everton are at set pieces? It just wound me up massively. He did create a chance when he first came on, which was positive, but apart from that, I thought he was poor.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he made a bit of an impact. Definitely offered more than Brennan Johnson did on that side when he came on. Set up a chance for Rishi, as you say. I thought he was able to give us a bit more control in the game, make it stick, keep the ball, link with other players. But near the end of the game, they were pressing him really, really intensely, and he had very little answer. And he gave the ball away just before he gave away that free kick as well. And it felt like he was trying to make up for giving the ball away, and made it even worse, because the last thing you want to do in that situation is give Everton a free kick and give them an opportunity to get men in the box. And that's exactly what happened. So ultimately, it was a frustrating cameo, but I did think he improved us a bit when he did come on, and he was okay. And also, there was a moment as well. He wins the ball in the middle of the park from a really good tackle, sets up Pedro Porro for the shot, and that was a good opening as well. But unfortunately, yeah, at the end of the game, he gave away the free kick that cost us.
Last but not least is Ange Postecoglou. Sim gives him a 5. I gave him a 6. I don't have too many problems with the starting lineup he chose. I mean, we still don't have too many options. I'm sure if Pape was ready to start, he probably would have started in the game yesterday, obviously just coming back from the AFCON. But he needs to find a way to get consistent points away from home at the moment, because we're just not picking up nowhere near enough points away from home in recent weeks. He's got to figure out why we're conceding so many late goals in games, because this is a consistent theme now which keeps on happening throughout the season. I thought his in-game management and changes he made throughout the game didn't fail to help us really impact the game. I think the only positive change that he did make was Pape Sarr, which I thought he had a good cameo, but we're vulnerable at the moment. We're really vulnerable, and it's a problem. Yeah,
the fact that we keep conceding chances late on in games is something he needs to address. I feel like his subs didn't impact the game positively, and I don't have a massive problem with the personnel. It's just I look at the impact they have on the game and how the game changes once he makes the subs. I feel like we got worse when those subs came on, and it didn't impact the game
Brian
positively.
Hill was a needless sub, wasn't it?
Well, if Werner was tiring, he wanted to bring on a winger. I
know he's never going to impact that game.
Yeah, I understand that. So you can say we should never ever play him, and that's an argument. But
no, but against Everton, the most physical side in the league.
So maybe, maybe I don't know who else he could have brought on. But if Werner's tired, he needs to bring someone on, and he decided he was the only winger we had on the bench. So unless he brings on another midfielder, I don't know if we had any other midfielders. So I don't know what he does if he wants to take Werner off if he's tired. Maybe he should have kept Maddison on, but I don't know if that was a case even before his injury. He used to take Maddison off, before the 90. So I think definitely the subs impacted us negatively. The game management seems to be a big problem. He needs to sort that out. Look, we're still going well. It was only a draw. Goodison Park's always a tough place to go. So it is frustrating that we ended up giving away the points in the last minute. But again, apart from the Wolves game and this game, I can't remember too many other results too many times we've actually lost the game in the last minute. But it's definitely a pattern that we struggle to contain the opposition in terms of allowing them to create chances, and it was always bound to hurt us at some point, and it ended up hurting us yesterday. So something for Ange to address. Also, he has to address how we play against teams who are really aggressive against us and press us high. Definitely something we need to look at and manage. But overall, look, we're still in a good position. We're still up there in the league and fighting for that top 4 or top 3. Any kind of faint hopes that we had of maybe challenging that top spot probably died with that draw yesterday. But I don't think anyone was realistic looking at that anyway. And I think the top 3 is still very much there.
Yeah, I agree. But having said that, Arsenal 1-0 up at the moment, which is going to make it even more hard if the result stays the same. But let's move on to the 5 takeaways to see what 5 things we can take away from the 2-2 draw at Goodison Park yesterday. And the first one, as we've spoken about a lot during this stream, is late vulnerability.
Yeah, and obviously we did concede that late goal yesterday, which was really, really frustrating, especially as how we kind of ceded control late in the game. And in fact, the goal we conceded yesterday was our 8th goal we have conceded, which has been over 90 minutes, which is more than any other side in the whole Premier League this season. And it's also there's more times that Spurs have conceded a last-minute goal. We've conceded now more last-minute goals than in any other campaign already, halfway through the campaign. So that goes to show how vulnerable we are late on in games.
Yeah, and it's a really frustrating sign, to be honest, because after all the good work and hard work we're putting in games, we're just conceding too many late goals. And what's that? The most for how long?
Ever. The most goals we conceded in the 90th minute and over ever in a season.
That's mad, because a couple of years ago, what was it, under Jose? Under Jose? We just kept conceding in the 90th minute, and it just seemed like every week at that point. Yeah. I can't believe that's more than that already, halfway through a season.
Although what I would caveat that stat is only the Wolves game and this game did those last-minute goals actually affect the result. Because we conceded 2 against Chelsea, which we were already 2-1 down.
2 against Wolves.
2 against. No, I'm saying Wolves. We conceded 1 against Palace, which obviously didn't affect the result. So we have conceded a few. I think it was 1 against Newcastle, already 4-0 up. So we have conceded a lot of late goals, but only in this game did it actually affect the result.
As you said earlier on in the stream, there has been moments in games against Burnley late on where that would have affected the game if they don't have a terrible miss at the end, and also Manchester United. I can't remember who. I think McTominay. Free header in the box, and that would have gone on to us losing the game.
Definitely a pattern, that's for sure. It's definitely a pattern with our late vulnerability.
Let's move on to number 2, following the same theme: can't hold leads.
Yes, this is more about dropped points from winning positions, which again happened yesterday. Obviously, if you've got to remember back in that run where we didn't go, I think we lost 4 and drew 1 out of 5 games. We took the lead in all those games, right? And we didn't end up winning any of them. And in fact, Spurs have now dropped 18 points from winning positions this season, which is more than any other team in the league this season. It just goes to show that I don't know what it is, but I think it's maybe a game management thing, but it's a weird one. Sometimes we start badly and we grow into the game. Sometimes we start really well, but then we seem to see control of the game. Obviously, we're still very early on in Ange's project, so it's always going to be we're not going to be this well-functioning machine just yet. And there are definitely signs that we're getting really good. And the fact we're in 5th is great, but 18 points from winning positions is a clear indication that we struggle in those moments when we're in the lead to just really control the game.
Yeah, and we're struggling when teams coming to press us and really trying to dominate us physically. We struggle in these kind of games, and we need to find a way just to be able to see out games at the end. And it's really frustrating, to be honest, and I'm not really sure what I put my finger down on it. I think the stat is as well, like this season we haven't lost when Romero and Van de Ven have been together at the back, which is impressive, but we got to be able to hold on to these leads, don't we? Yeah,
I think it will come. People just forget how early we are on in Postecoglou's tenure, so I'm not too downhearted about it. I think it's something we will learn and it will come. Just at the moment, that's something we're struggling with. We have to learn to deal with.
Let's move on to number 3, and that is build-up struggles.
Yeah, and something in the preview I mentioned that Everton have the most tackles in the midfield third in the league. They got one of the highest tackles in the final third in the league as well, and we're one of the most tackled team in the league as well. In our defensive third, and that's exactly how it came to pass in this game. Everton made 6 tackles in our defensive third and made 11 tackles in our midfield third. Both of those are the second highest figures we've faced this season against the opposition. And I think it's an indication of how much we did struggle to build up from the back in our defence, and also when we did get to the ball into the midfield, how we really struggled to make it stick, get our passing game going, and Everton were just able to disrupt us time and time again, win the ball back in dangerous positions, obviously win set pieces, put us under pressure, and obviously ended up getting the point at the end of the day. And I think them being super aggressive, then getting those tackles in was what led to them getting the point. And I think we really did struggle in the build-up.
Yeah, and it's been a theme now for the last number of games. When you take the last 3 games, for example, you've got this game against Everton, the Brentford game, and the Man City game. The Man City game, we couldn't build up any sort of pressure or any sort of attacks. In the Brentford game, was fairly similar, apart from those first 10 minutes in the second half, which won us the game, where we just came out on fire. And then again against Everton yesterday, where we just failed to being able to build up these kind of attacks and pressure. And I'm not sure what it's down to. I mean, Maddison obviously was a key part in that in the first 10 games of the season, where we were able to really build up attacks and sustain attacks for large parts of the game. But since Maddison's been out, it's been a struggle for us. Now he's coming back into the team. Hopefully it is going to improve. And I think it did slightly improve yesterday when he was on the ball. But the other midfielders aren't really reciprocating with Højbjerg and Bentancur. The wingers as well, not doing themselves any sort of favours in the build-up. So it's something that we need to really address, and something that Ange Postecoglou has alluded to in the past, where he said that our attacking phases of play aren't as fluid and not what he wants to see from a team. So maybe it's down to that.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's, look, Basuma was so great at holding the ball and beating the press, Maddison early in the season. So maybe it's a personal issue. Maybe it's something that teams are starting to figure out, that when you press us really intensely, we do struggle with it. But on the flip side, it does seem in the second half, when they drop that press, we seem to gain control of the game. So it's a bit of a give and take. But definitely yesterday, I felt we struggled in that phase.
Let's move on to number 4. Now we're going to get onto something positive, because Richie is on fire.
Yeah, and that's now 9 goals in his last 8 games for Richarlison, which is absolutely incredible. 10 league goals this season as well. Really stepping up while Son is away at the Asia Cup. He's the one providing the goals. I think before December, he only had 1 league goal, and now he's on 10, which is absolutely incredible. I'm so happy he's on double figures as well. Overall, in terms of his overall game, he had 2 key passes as well, so he was able to kind of influence the game from a creative standpoint as well. And he's just in firing form, and he's taking a lot of stopping at the moment, Richarlison, the way he's playing. And it just seems like every game he's either getting in those right positions. But yesterday, I felt was the real first time we saw quality in those finishes as well. Like roof for the net, brilliant finish on the edge of the area as well. And maybe we're going to start to see more of those types of finishes from Richarlison moving forward, because he's got that confidence to try it now. Yeah, I really hope so. And I'm really excited to see Richarlison on this form with Sonny coming back into the team as well. I think it's going to be a joy to behold. But 2024, the year of Richarlison, you know. Last season, he was the butt of everyone's jokes with more offside goals and more shirts off celebrations and actual goals. But this year, he is shutting up the haters one by one with the goals he's scoring, with the amount of goals he's scoring. And now he's showing the quality in the goals that he's scoring. So long may it continue for Richarlison. I think we particularly have been backing Richarlison since the beginning. And finally, we're getting a bit of vindication for it, aren't we? Looks like it. A lot of people clown me because I keep saying I was backing Richarlison. I was a big advocate of his signing, and it was hard to defend him at times, but right now he's proving everyone wrong, and I really hope he continues, because when he's in this kind of form, not only is he such a benefit with his goals, but what he gives you off the ball as well, that tireless running, that is a nuisance for opposition centre-backs. He tackles them, he presses them relentlessly, and that is so valuable, especially in this kind of system. Yeah, and like, his off-the-ball work has never been in question, really, since joining Spurs. Never been in question. I think he's always been good in that aspect of the game, and we always worried about what he can actually do on the ball and where are the goals coming from. And since that surgery, he's just a completely changed man, isn't he? Yeah, completely changed man. One of the best players in the league in the last month or so. Yeah. Let's move on to number 5, and that is Vicario targeted once again. Yeah, and I think it's becoming a theme, and it's something definitely that it's hard not to notice. Obviously, against Man City for the corner, which they scored from, something Vicario definitely struggled to deal with. People debated whether it was a foul or not, but seems as though at the moment, referees are having a period where it looks like they're looking to leave a lot of these play out, these goalkeeping challenges, and letting VAR decide. And VAR look at the moment are letting them letting them go. It seems as though at the moment, if there's not a clear challenge on the goalkeeper, it hurt us against Man City. Everton clearly looked at that and thought that's something we've got to target, and time again, especially in that first half, they were targeting Vicario at these corners, putting those every single corner right under Vicario's crossbar, making him make a decision whether he's punching it, trying to get something on it. And unfortunately for us, it's where the first goal came from. He struggled to deal with, along with, he got a little touch on it, doesn't get enough on it, but Vicario struggled to deal with it, and Everton took advantage. And then another one a few minutes later, so close to making it 2-1 as well to Everton, but thankfully Vicario made a great save. I don't think it's something like endemic to Vicario himself. I don't think it's like he's bad at coming for crosses or things like that. I just think they're being very, very smart, and it's something we have to manage, and it's something that we have to see how we can kind of have a resolution to, because we can't allow Vicario to continually putting under this amount of pressure. I think we need to be getting players around him, because at the moment we're like allowing a player to stand on Vicario. We need to be getting one of our players in between the Vicario and the opposition player.
Yeah, I completely agree, and it is worrying, to be honest, because before a couple of weeks ago, we could have sat here and thought about all the flaws in Vicario's game, and we couldn't have picked out one, to be honest. And now in the last couple of games, people have started to cotton on to a few things, and they are targeting him seriously from set pieces, from corners. And after seeing that against Man City, I mean, in previous seasons gone by, if you back into a goalkeeper, that's usually a foul.
It depends. I don't know. It depends if you're making a challenge. If you're just standing your ground, you're just being strong and standing your ground.
But I don't think he was like backing in until like he was really under pressure.
It's a tough one. If you do it cutely enough where it doesn't look like you're making a challenge, you might get away with it, and that's what's happening at the moment. They're being very, very clever, these players. Obviously, if you jump up and your arms are on the keeper, that should be a foul. But if you're just standing your ground and kind of nudging him a bit...
Did you think it was a foul?
I don't think there was enough there for it to be a foul. I think if a referee blows up for a foul, I don't think VAR looks at that and overturns it and says that there's definitely no foul, because I think there's enough to suggest, he definitely impacted the keeper. But I think the ref gives the goal. I don't think there's enough evidence to overturn it. I really don't.
Fair enough.
I think it's just being clever.
I think it was more of a foul than the Man City one, in my opinion. But look, essentially, whether it's a foul or not, Vicario needs to be stronger. That's the takeaway from it.
And he was in the second half.
Yeah.
So credit to him.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's hope that... But the thing is, like, how do we stop this from happening, apart from... Because those ones where he was stronger and he kind of leapt up and held the ball, it wasn't the same, because he wasn't getting crowded out at that point, and the corners weren't as, as strong as in and by the goal line as they were in the first half. So how do we combat that from happening, what we saw in the first half?
I think we need to, one of our players has to take responsibility, get in between Vicario and the Everton player, make sure that he's not allowing them to do that. But then obviously it creates your own problems. Maybe they leave someone else free in the box potentially if you do that. But if you get a player in between them, make sure that you're being stronger and not allowing the Everton player to do that. I think that could go a long way to freeing up Vicario and allowing him to come and claim these crosses.
Yeah. All right, well, those are the 5 takeaways from the 2-2 draw at Goodison Park yesterday. Halftime update. Liverpool, if you saw me just give a bit of a fist pump during the 5 takeaways, that was because Liverpool just did score an equaliser on the stroke of halftime. I think it was actually a Gabriel own goal.
Handball, he handled it back into his own net.
And all the Arsenal fans that keep saying Gabriel's a world-class defender, take that. But let's go on to see how the internet did react to the 2-2 draw yesterday. So if you bring that up, Football Confidential saying an undeniable pattern is emerging in the Tottenham performances this season. And Sim did mention in the WhatsApp group last week when we found out we were playing in this kit, he was just like, oh, for God's sake. And the passing accuracy in that kit seems to be quite a bit lower than the passing accuracy in the other kit. And
I don't know whether
I don't even know what. I still don't know what color that kit is.
Well, they call it toupee something. I don't know. Or some people
Coffee,
call it cappuccino.
Coffee kit.
I hate this kit. I think we always play badly in this kit. I don't know why.
Second half against Man City was all right.
The second half against Man City was decent, but maybe it's just we play hard games. We played Everton away, Brighton away, City away, and Fulham away.
But why didn't we play in our home?
We haven't won.
What was the need to play in this kit yesterday?
I think maybe we have to play a certain amount of games in the kit,
ridiculous,
or something like that. But we always play badly. I feel like in this kit, I don't think we ever play well, and I don't know if there's something to it in terms of the color of this kit. Does it blend in with the crowd? I don't know, because this kit is very weird color. It's very dull. It doesn't stand out, and that's what you need when you're on the ball and you have to make very quick decisions. I'm not saying this kit is to blame. I'm just saying
the kit is to blame.
I don't like the kit. Stop using the kit. Never wear it again. Imagine we have a big game late in the season. We have to play in this bloody kit. It's going to absolutely infuriate me. So I don't know.
I bet you'll be playing this kit at Newcastle away.
Oh, we're definitely losing that if that happens. We might as well give them the points. Might as well give them the points when that happens.
Match of the day. Tweeting out saying Richarlison's resurgence is real. So first 39 games, 2 goals, 51 shots, 4% conversion rate, and 786 minutes per goal. Judging by his last 8 games, 9 goals, 25 shots, 36% conversion rate, and 69 minutes per goal. That is some increase.
That's mad. 51 shots in 39 games and 25 in the last 9. What an improvement. And also, the shot conversion so big, so much better as well. And even when we signed him, I thought he was a good finisher. I never thought he was an amazing finisher, but maybe he's proving people wrong, and maybe his finishing's better than we give him credit for as well, because he's starting to really find the corners in a lot of his finishes. And those 2 finishes yesterday were the best of the lot. 2 of his best goals in the Tottenham shirt for sure. So this guy's in firing form. I'm here for it. I'm loving every second of it.
I think he's actually in better form than Harry Kane at the moment.
Better form than Harry Kane
for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, definitely.
Squawker Live saying Destiny Udogie has now been directly involved in 5 Premier League goals for Tottenham this season, 2 goals, 3 assists, goal involvements in back-to-back games for the 21-year-old as well. And I thought it was a really good display from Destiny yesterday.
Yeah, I thought it was a mixed display. I thought there was good things that stood out, which when he did do the good things, you remember them because they were very good. I did think there were occasions in the build-up play he was struggling a bit. Maybe there were occasions I thought he looked a bit tired, a bit leggy, but there are some times where he just bulldozes through players. He just looks unstoppable, and it's so great. But sometimes with his decision-making, with his passing, needs to be a bit better. I
call Destiny the steam train, because once he gets going, once he just trying to bulldoze his way past players, there is no stopping him. And there was a moment, it actually got caught up in the vlog yesterday when Destiny did go bulldozing through. You just hear me go in the background, go on the steam train.
Brilliant.
Squawker Live saying Richarlison apologised to the Everton fans after giving Tottenham the lead at Goodison Park. And I noticed something with Richarlison yesterday for the second goal he scored, because obviously it was a brilliant goal, the best goal he scored in his Spurs shirt, and he actually rushes off to go and celebrate, and then he realises who he scored against, and he just quickly stopped himself.
I don't know if I've seen players not celebrate. I don't know if I've ever seen the players apologise for scoring. I don't know. That's not very common, but he seemed very apologetic yesterday.
To be fair, Sonny, after beating Saudi Arabia, because the fans was like 90%, 85% Saudi Arabia in the Asia Cup last week, and he went around the stadium apologising to all the fans.
I'm so sorry for knocking you out. I'm so sorry. But look, I'm glad. It's a shame Richie wasn't able to go for it because of such great goals. But look, he's got respect for the team, which obviously he had such a great time for. So. Yeah, I understand it.
Yeah. Talking THFC saying poor performance, really fell for every trick in the Dyche playbook and just didn't offer enough in the physical battles. As good as this team is, it's screaming out for leadership in game. And I kind of agree with that, especially with Sonny out. You really want your leaders to step up on James Maddison and Romero. I'm just not seeing that on the pitch in the last couple of games.
Yeah, and it's I don't know what is leading, but it's leading to all these stupid decisions being made late in games, stupid free kicks being given away, not managing the game well, not doing the smart things when we're going forward. So I don't know if it's a consequence of leadership, but I guess you could put it down to that if all the rest of the team are kind of doing the same thing, the buck stops somewhere. But I think maybe it's just a consequence of this team still being very young, very early on. They have to learn how to manage these things. But definitely yesterday, it was very frustrating how in the last few minutes of the game, we were just making really dumb decisions and end up costing us.
You know what? I was thinking about this yesterday, that in terms of the captaincy, I'm seeing a lot more leadership qualities in someone like Mickey van der Ven than Cuti Romero.
I don't know about that. I don't know. I'm seeing better performances, but I don't know about leadership.
No, even leadership, because I'm seeing him like orchestrate things. I'm seeing him shouting at other people. I'm seeing him trying to lift up other players, and I'm just don't know. I'm not seeing that from Cuti, and he's got the armband on.
Okay, look, I wasn't there yesterday, so maybe it's hard for me to say. But if that's the case, then that's interesting.
Cameron Hill says, obsessed with this weird Crystal Maze quiz zone like shot of Seamus Coleman rushing through the tunnel at Goodison.
Do you ever watch Crystal Maze?
I used to watch it.
Yeah, do you remember they have these little shots when they used to like running through the maze and stuff? That's what they're saying and comparing it to.
Right. That's actually quite funny. Paddy Hartnett saying, 1, lost the best striker in world football. 2, key players missing through injuries. 3, key players missing via international competitions. 4, 6 months into what was so far a good rebuild. 5 points better off from last season. Spurs fan need to relax a little. We will be fine. Look, I completely agree with that, but we can only comment on what we're seeing at the moment, and that's just the situation.
Yeah, look, there are patterns that definitely need improving. There are things that aren't quite there yet. We're still a very immature team, but there's no doubt we're going in the right direction. I don't think anyone could argue that. So anyone panicking or being frustrated, I mean, we're in the exact position we hope to be in at this stage of the season. Like, there's not much to complain about in terms of how we're doing results-wise or league-wise. Obviously, we're always striving for improvement, so you can always say that needs to be improved, we need to do that better. That's fine. But anyone panicking saying, Ange is out, I've seen a few tweets saying Ange is out of his depth, all this kind of rubbish. It's like,
no, that's crap.
What are you watching? It's like, you need to just chill out.
And look, if I said to you on the night we sold Harry Kane, if I said to you in 4th of February, with 3 months left, 4 months left of the season, we're in a serious battle for the top 4 with Everton and potentially Arsenal. You would have bitten my hand off for it.
Villa and Arsenal.
Sorry, yeah. Villa and Arsenal. Who did I say?
Everton.
Oh, yeah, Villa and Arsenal. You would have bitten my hand off for it.
100%.
Because everyone was saying, we're not even going to make Europa League football.
Exactly. Everyone was saying as long as we made like top 7 with some good football, that's good progression. It's like
exactly.
we're ahead of schedule.
But does expectancy and maybe does that change through a season after the first 10 games because of the way we were playing our football and the way we were just battering teams?
I think naturally it does change, but it's not like we ever put ourselves in a position where we're like 10 points clear at the top or anything. And it was always, obviously, with all the injuries and everything that happened, all the circumstances, I think we're still doing well, in a good position.
I agree. Spurs Army tweeted this out. This is brilliant. One Everton fan didn't take to Richarlison's apology too well. Definitely didn't accept the apology because he's seen there hitting his old Richarlison shirt, and Richarlison actually commented back on it and says, "Yes, bro, I don't like the number 30 either. I prefer 7." That's brilliant.
That was brilliant from Richarlison. Yeah, I want to have a go at it as well. Absolutely fantastic. Everton fans falling out of love with it. Why do people do this? Like,
and post it online.
Literally. I know we're ones to talk, but but we don't do that kind of. We don't go and take shirts and start punching it as if it's. I don't know what he's trying to prove, but anyway, it's a bit weird. But I love Richarlison there for applying to it.
Like, his club sold him because they needed money for FFP. Like, what do they want?
So funny.
Harry Brooks says the main issue Spurs are conceding goals and late ones is once again the final third. Kulu, the only one comfortable staying on the ball for a period of time in the final third, but he struggles being direct. Maddison can, but he's often deeper. Means if an attack doesn't, it ends in a
chance. He's in a chance. That was the
okay.
It's basically trying to say how our front three don't make it stick enough. They don't hang on to the ball, and that's exactly what I was saying. Like, when we're building up, I feel like unless there's like an immediate opportunity to create a chance in a transition, our front three really struggle to hold on the ball and keep possession, and that continually means we're overturning the ball so much and constantly under pressure, and that's what happened yesterday at Everton.
Yeah. Cody Mack says, can you imagine if Richarlison won the Golden Boot this year? He's only 4 behind. That would be mental. And that's what you were saying before, isn't it? Only 4 goals behind Erling Haaland, which is a crazy turn of events, seeing as how bad he actually was last season. But it was great. I got a FaceTime call for Brian and Cody Mack after the game on the way back from Everton last week, and he definitely cheered me up. What a top quality bloke Cody Mack is.
Yeah, I miss Cody Mack on the channel. He came on the channel yesterday, but with Brian. But yeah, what a great guy. But look, in terms of Richarlison for the Golden Boot, look, if he's going to be starting number 9 for the rest of the season, who knows? Why not? If we can continue to up our goal output and stuff like that, I think, I wouldn't say he's got a great goal. Haaland's coming back from injury, so
that's what I'm saying. Like, Haaland's
he's still
been out
4 behind
for 2 months.
But maybe Rishi continues this kind of form. Who knows? I wouldn't completely rule it out.
No, he's not winning the Golden Boot.
Completely rule it out.
The only reason he's catching up to Haaland is because Haaland's been out for 2 months.
Yeah, but he's still
Haaland
scoring
probably
the
scores
goals.
a hat-trick tomorrow.
Probably. And then,
there's no conversation.
Come on, Richie for the Golden Boot. Come on.
Gus says, just question marks to this. Let's watch this clip.
And it's just Højbjerg giving it away.
Once again.
Classic. This is like one of the most frustrating things when Højbjerg just gives it away.
I was just there in the stands yesterday.
Look, he's got time. He's got time and space, and he just looks for a square. Look, how can you do that when you're under no pressure?
That happened quite a lot of times yesterday.
Like, I understand if you're under pressure, it can be difficult, but he's under no pressure there, and he just gives it away. Those are things that are the most frustrating things when Højbjerg does that.
Yeah.
It makes my blood boil when he does stuff like that.
Yeah, and it happens way too often.
Yeah.
Way too often. KM says 23-24, Tottenham's last-minute goal conceded list against Burnley, 94th minute, Palace, 94th minute, Chelsea, 94th and 97th minute, but we were down to 9 men at that point, playing an extremely high line. Wolves, 91st minute, Wolves, 97th minute, Newcastle, 91st minute, and Everton, 94th minute. The list will keep going. And on top of that, there are many gilt-edged chances we've conceded in the last minute as well. Yeah.
But again, to be fair, only the Everton game and the Wolves game actually affected the result. But it definitely is a pattern because clearly a pattern because we keep conceding chances, letting alone goals. We keep conceding chances late on, and that's something that needs to be rectified for sure.
Average striker Richarlison has now scored more Premier League goals than Wilson and Antonio combined. Stick that in your podcast.
Exactly. Look who's laughing now. Half they were laughing at Richarlison last season.
Richarlison should make a podcast just to bring up one episode on them.
Exactly, 100%.
Craig Pankhurst says, since Christmas, our overall performance has been poor. Brighton, shocking. Bournemouth, okay. Burnley, poor. Man United, okay. Man City, poor. Brentford, okay. Brilliant 10 minutes with Everton being poor. We've had injuries and AFCON and Asia Cup, but the players have lacked bite, too passive. And this is something I was discussing with Amir on the way home yesterday. I completely agree with that. I mean, we need to get a lot better. We need to get back to those levels that we were at earlier in the season.
Yeah, and I don't know whether it's a case of these players are coming back and they're not completely match fit yet, or I don't know if I want to put it completely down to injuries. Maybe we're just not playing that well at the moment. I don't know, maybe it's a busy period. We had a lot of games to play, but we haven't recently. In January, December was more the case. So it's just a period where we're not playing that well at the moment. I don't think we've been awful, but it's fair to say we definitely haven't been at our best. That's definitely for sure. And the results have also suffered a bit. We have had a few wins there, but the performances just haven't been up to it compared to earlier in the season for sure.
Yeah. The Stat have tweeted out saying, is it me or is this tolerance on goalkeepers getting blocked off going too far? Multiple times this game, Vicario has been bodied trying to go for the ball. I agree a bit of contact is fine, let it go, but I've just witnessed the entire half of players just consistently backing into him with no intention to play the ball. I completely agree with that. Completely agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. I think the goalkeeper. Well, somewhat people argue the goalkeepers are too protected, so maybe it's going back the other way to try and rectify that. But now it's going too far the other way potentially, where goalkeepers now are getting shoved, and it's a dangerous game because goalkeepers have the reason why they're so protected is because they put themselves in a lot of danger when they're coming, catching the ball. If they get bumped and stuff, that they fall awkwardly, it can cause a lot of injuries and stuff. So I understand why they're protected. But it's difficult when a player's not making a challenge. They're making like a small, if they're doing something very like cute and very like not obvious, it's hard to kind of point it out, which I think happened for the goal. But for sure, there are occasions where Vicario is definitely, getting pressure on him, and maybe the referee should be pulling up, but it doesn't seem to be doing it.
Yeah, it's very frustrating because it's if they don't look at something, this is just going to keep happening time and time again. They're just going to crowd Vicario every single time. But why don't we do it to other keepers?
Yeah, we should.
Football on TNT Sports says 1 goal in 27 Premier League games in 22-23. September 23, I'm sure I'll get a good run at Tottenham and make things happen again. I'll continue to focus on the club. The storm has passed. February 24, Richarlison has now scored 9 goals in his last 8 games. What a turnaround. And really good mentality from Richarlison, because he kept believing, didn't he? Even though you saw him visibly getting to him at times, especially at the beginning of this season. But he plugged away, sorted out his issues, and he's come back stronger.
Well, Richarlison predicted his turnaround. A lot of people didn't believe him, but look at him now. Flying form, scoring goals left, right and centre, and now adding quality to those goals as well. So I'm delighted for him. I really am, because he was going through such a tough time. You saw what a mental toll it was taking on him, and now he just seems such a man, so free and just excited for every game now.
Pedro Porro on Instagram said, a frustrating point. See you on Saturday at home, Spurs fans. Thanks for the support. And great to see these fighting words from Porro. Hopefully we can turn it around on Saturday. And in terms of what he's saying about the support, it was absolutely brilliant at Goodison Park, the away support once again.
Yeah, brilliant to see.
Zian, however you say that, says Tottenham are funny. You'll be in a rage and it'll be fucking 8:38 a.m.
I'm guessing he's a foreign Tottenham fan. Yeah, I'm sure that would probably be us if we were living not in England, but that's it's jokes.
Talking THFC with Richarlison, just doing his little pigeon into the camera.
Never get bored of the Richarlison pigeon.
Never. We didn't see that yesterday, though. He had too much respect for the Everton fans. Spurs, James Madison on Instagram, just showing his love for Richarlison yesterday. Brilliant finishes today, brother, at Richarlison.
Fantastic.
The Tactical Times saying, despite their strong start to the season, Spurs have regressed to a level far more realistic of where they are under Postecoglou. They are only 5 points better off than they were at this stage last season. Plenty of energy and promise, but also work to do. Top 4 will be a fight, and it's looking that way, isn't it?
I don't know. I feel like top 4 will be a fight with probably Aston Villa. I still think, I know United won today, so we're 6 points away from them still, but still 6 points is fairly significant. That's still 2 games, so they still need to go on a good run to overturn us. Are we regressing to a level more? I mean, we're regressing to a level compared to the first 10 games, but as an overall, we're still, I think, ahead of where we should be. So, regressing to a more realistic, I guess it's true if you're comparing to the first 10 games, but again, we haven't had that team we had for the first 10 games back together again since, so I don't know whether if we had that team more consistently, if we'd be a lot higher up on the table, but
I guess time will tell, won't it?
Yeah,
of course, these players will be back in the next couple of weeks.
But I don't think anyone's denying there's more work to do. Of course there is. We're only 6 months in, so of course there is.
Yeah, I think that I'm really interested to see how the levels change, if the levels change once Bissouma and Son come back. Because you got to remember as well, Bissouma's form did drop off massively.
Yes.
After those first 10 games, after sending off at Luton, and he got another sent off as well. But Sonny, people are not even taking into account how much of a loss Heung-min Son is. Not only is he our captain, but he's by far our best player as well.
Yeah, best attacker.
We need to get Sonny back into that team.
Yeah, it'd be crucial.
Another tweet here saying was always going to happen at Goodison. Expected goals, they had 2.50, we had 0.91. XG from open play, they only had 0.66 though, we had 0.83. And XG from the set plays, obviously they had 1.83 and we had 0.08. And that does tell the story of the game.
Yeah, and we were stupid enough to keep giving them too many set plays. I know they're always going to put us under pressure and try and win as many as possible, but unfortunately for us, they did that they played it really, really well, but we were stupid enough to get sucked into a lot of stupid situations where we kept giving away needless set pieces.
Spurs OTM just showing this Vicario and
Van de Ven.
Ashley Young. Sorry, Van de Ven and Ashley Young coming together yesterday.
I think Van de Ven's like half his age.
Literally.
But he's
Double his size as well.
Love it.
Adam from the Hotspur season says, this is so misleading. Only 3 of those 8 goals have led us to dropping points, 2 versus Wolves and 1 today. About the late goals, TNT said yesterday, you know, Spurs have now conceded 8 goals in the 90th minute this season, but most any side in the Premier League. I mean, it is and it's not. I mean, it's misleading in terms of how many points we have dropped in the last minute. But like we bring to the point, we have conceded a lot of chances in the last minute where we've been quite fortuitous not to drop points.
Yeah, so I could even quote retweet Adam saying this is so misleading.
Yeah, exactly.
Because look, the fact of the matter is we are conceding chances late in games. We're giving the opposition encouragement. Whether those certain goals of the 8 have led to drop points, I think it's fair to say there's an issue there. I don't think you. I know those 8 goals specifically aren't necessarily indication of how we've struggled to hold on to leads, but the overall picture of Tottenham late in games is we are struggling to contain the opposition. That is true.
Yeah. Mickey van der Ven, absolutely incredible, and he was by far our best player on the pitch yesterday, Mickey van der Ven, and that was just another one of his amazing challenges.
Yeah, another one of those clips where it looks like he's got 5 yards behind the player. Looks like they're in on goal, with Van de Ven coming from nowhere and bam, getting that challenge, and it's so invaluable.
He's been an absolute revelation this season. I don't think he's had a bad game all season.
Yeah, literally, and yeah, don't think so.
Romano tweeting out, showing him some Richarlison love, saying Richarlison scores a brace in the first half and makes it 9 total goals in the last 8 games, 2 against Newcastle, 1 against Forest, 1 against Brighton, 1 against Bournemouth, Manchester United, Brentford, and 2 against Everton.
Yeah, the only one he didn't score, Brighton, he's had 2 offside goals as well in that game.
That's true.
So a guy who's very much hitting the back of the net.
All right, we'll keep it going, Richarlison. The rest of the team needs to rise to his level, and then maybe we'll start getting to those levels that we saw first 10 games of the season. But that is how the internet reacted to the game yesterday. We're off to go and watch the rest of the Arsenal game, which is just over, 35 minutes to go. It is 1-1 as it stands. So let's hope we can find some late Liverpool goals and see Arsenal get battered on their own pitch tonight. But that is it from us today. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.